Welcome everyone to the CBRC use case score and register. And today I'm really excited to introduce our next project, which is the CBRC Barbera supply chain project. And on the call today with the interview, we have Elio Barbera, who is from the founding family from 1876.
1870.
1870. So I'm really excited to have Elio here because there's massive history. Any coffee lovers as well is going to love some of his stories. And, this is all about coffee, but more importantly, coffee with blockchain. And so, let's do the introduction. So Elio, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure.
And the company, that'd be brilliant.
Thanks, Anthony, for having me here. So I'm Elio, and I'm the sixth generation of Barbera Company, which is a very old coffee company founded in 1870 in southern Italy. Today being the oldest Italian and one of the oldest European coffee company, even probably worldwide. So let's say we have a long history of sixth generation. Mostly I will immediately jump, let's say, to our generation. So the company today, it's an international company exporting its product to over 65 countries worldwide, mostly covering channels such as HoReCa, so distribution in hotel, restaurants, but also distribution in supermarkets, and let's say any channel where coffee could be sold. So we import green coffee from the origins, so from different countries worldwide, and then we roast here in Naples, and then we re-export worldwide. During the years, we also launched a coffee shop chain, today with around 60 outlets in 21 countries that are classic Italian coffee shop, trying to bring Italian culture, let's say, worldwide.
Excellent. Which are the best countries? Where do you have the most coffee shops?
So the tradition of the family always has been to import from 7 different origins. In fact, our main blend, which is called the Mago, is actually a 7 beans blend, roasted singly, third generation roasted blended together. However, during the years, and thanks to the blockchain project, we have been actually adopting new and using new farmers, buying from new plantations. And so today we work with 10 plantations, which are mostly Brazil, Costa Rica, Colombia, Nicaragua, Honduras. We work in Indonesia, in the Jama Island with a very nice Robusta, Ethiopia Sidamo, Shangri-La, which is from El Salvador, which is also a funny story because I went there not only for the coffee plantation, but also to see the Bitcoin beach.
Bitcoin, yes.
That was fun. And India, which is also another region.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Amazing. So before we get on to the tracking side of it and the supply chain, which is the interesting part, just give us a bit more of your blockchain journey, because you've been interested in and working actually real use cases for blockchain for a number of years. So just give us a few highlights before we talk about the tracking.
Yeah, so let's say the introduction of blockchain solution for our company came a little bit from my passion, for the industry, from Bitcoin in 2016. Then, once COVID arrived, I always say we had a lot of time, because even if coffee was even drunk, I was drunk a little bit less because we work a lot with cafe restaurants that, of course, they were shut down. So we try to focus in sector that could actually grow during COVID months. And one of the sector was, of course, our e-commerce. And so, by looking solutions, it was also 2020 was the beginning of the last bull run. I was put in touch with another ecosystem, let's say Algorand ecosystem. And that at the time, I was trying to understand what we could do actually to bring some innovation in our e-commerce. And the first, let's say, trial we did, the first implementation was actually implementing a payment rails using crypto, which today, of course, is a very common thing. By the time was quite unusual. I mean, we're the first in the coffee industry in Europe to do something like this. So we started accepting at the beginning Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and USDC at the time. And then then we even expanded to over 30 different currencies. So we did this implementation in our website. We also, still today, you can actually change the pricing of our product from euro to Bitcoin to it, which is very fun. I mean, not so many people know, but you can select let's say, in currency, of course, also Bitcoin and so on. And it was nice. I mean, it was a good move in terms of marketing, not so much in terms of sales, because I don't think people will like so much to pay in crypto, but it was definitely a nice move. And then from this experience, we tried some B2B payment rates with some countries we work still today that are a little bit, let's not say unbanked, but of course it's difficult to work with international bank trusters. So countries such as Egypt, such as Iran. We even tried, of course, with the UAE. We tried to do some payment rates in USDC, just some small trial. Hopefully one day we can use it more, because it will really help and ease all the operations. Until we reach today, our, let's say, latest implementation that I think it's the one more interesting for any manufacturer company, that is, of course, traceability blockchain.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting, the payment side of it. Just what sort of percentage of payments is with crypto? Is it 1 or 2%?
So at the time, because there was a lot of, let's say, advertising by the foundation we work with and by the community, we had some months where, yes, it hit 1%. Today, it's maybe much less. We have very few payments in crypto, but of course, I think where it will be interesting again is the B2B side. So I'm sure with the USDC, this would be something very interesting, or with another stable coin and so on. So I see a lot of future over there. I hope to restart this project with some of my distributors that are a little bit more innovative in this sense, and bring some proper use case with bigger shipment.
Yeah, no, there's definitely interest in the digital currency for, supplier payments up and down the chain, and be it in dollar or, other currencies that people want to settle in, because as you say, the banking system is very inefficient, very costly. And also, it doesn't work too well in some places, and others it's very expensive. So you can see massive adoption coming from the B2B side of supplier payments with digital currencies and stable coins, which is really interesting, exciting sort of next area. So talk to us about the tracking. So, for me, it's all about, where's my coffee from? You have a very unique coffee, a very, long history and brand. So how do I know, how does this work? How do I know what the coffee is? And talk to me about the tracking.
Yeah. So basically, the main, let's say, reason why we moved to this is because, as you said perfectly, customers are looking for transparency even more today, especially in some specific country like North Europe or Western world like the US and so on. There is always a more attention by customer to, let's say, the transparency and the origin of the product. And what I was realizing is that every time you go to supermarket, for example, you want to buy a product, you actually see everything written in the package, literally everything, 100% organic, 100% bio, directly sourced and so on, but who actually tells you that is real? And believe it or not, there is a lot of let's say, overusing of this word, even if not the practices are correct or use it correctly. So I was thinking about how cool would it be to actually allow our customer to see properly, to have an access to a certificate of origin, to see actually a certificate of organic of the product, to see the face of the farmer and so on. So I was exposed to some blockchain tracking project at the time, and I found in one called TrackGood the right solution, let's say, for us. So today, of course, we went through various stages. So we tried at the beginning with one product. We inserted all the supply chain from the origin. So from the time the green coffee beans is grown until the time this coffee beans travels, goes to our company and gets roasted and then ships out. And basically, we wanted to track everything, track every single moment of the steps. We subdivided the journey in 5 phases, which is basically the plantation, harvesting, drying, the trip, the journey, and of course the roasting. Each of these journey steps, it's documented with proper documentation. So again, certificate of origins, laboratory analysis test, certifications of the crop, logistic information from customs, so batch number, of each of the shipment and so on, uploaded in the blockchain. And we, of course, every single document is uploaded in the blockchain and visible to our customers. So today our customer can scan the QR code in our package, or from our website, e-commerce, just click on the link that we also inserted in our e-commerce and go to this landing page where you can see these steps. You can click on the documents and see them. So you can actually see an original document, see the transaction hash of the blockchain transaction, and see that actually every month, this transaction hash is different, of course, because we upload every single documents from every single batch. So it's not just done one time, but also more than one time. Now, the interesting and most challenging part was about decentralizing this process that still today is not a very easy one. So of course, it's nice. I went personally to El Salvador to speak with the farmer and speak with the laboratory test center and speak with the logistic guys, trying to convince them, guys, listen, we'll buy from you, but you need to upload independently these documentations in the blockchain, because only like this you can achieve decentralization. Otherwise, you have, a nice tracking solution, but centralized, because it's Barbera Coffee, this uploading all the documentation, which is also a very nice thing and brings clarity and transparency. But I think that the real achievement is when we will have more parties populating the information, of course. And this is still today the main challenge. I mean, with some products we reached 7 different parties, but some others were still, in the process of doing this. And
Yeah, and it's interesting. So you're tracking sort of, the different parts of the journey and asking for information at each stage. So do they have an app or something they can upload the documentation and just scan it and
Correct. Correct. There is an app that is given to our supplier where basically they can upload information. They can upload also the location. So even the location of the plantation is updated. So there is also tracking of the location. We are now collaborating even with the logistic company to put a GPS inside that gives information, and you can even track the journey, which area will the ship goes. So yes, the main issue was convincing these people. And probably in the future there must be some sort of reward of being transparent that will allow them to really feel part of this journey. But it's been very interesting. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's a difficult one. I mean, I started back in 2016, 2017, working on it's actually olive oil from Italy. This was back in the day, and trying to track that. And it's a very high-end olive oil, very expensive, sold mainly in New York. And it was interesting. All the information though is so much, and the most interesting piece was actually the part about the journey. And it was making sure that the olive oil stayed in the vehicle and wasn't swapped out halfway through. And that was really interesting, tracking the GPS, but also tracking the temperature of the vehicle. So if it's up or down, it could have been that maybe somebody moved something and changed some oil and things like that. But the amount of data is crazy. So how do you deal with the amount of data that, because it sounds very small, but actually you're talking about, say, 5, 6, 7 parts to a journey, and 5, 6, 7, if not more, maybe 10 parties minimum. How do you manage all this data? How does the system do this?
There is a coordination, and to be frank with you, Anthony, we started from scratch. From something like this, because it was easier, let's say, to bring these people in and convince them, say, listen, we will launch a blockchain tracked product with you, but you need to be part of this project, while doing this with our existing origins that are quite complicated. So what we did is we launched literally 3 new products in the market thanks to blockchain tracking. They are single origins that are more on the specialty side, that are easier to track, because of course, imagine tracking every different batch. If some of my products are blends, 7 different blends, and it will be a we need to reach that point for sure. We need to
Yeah.
reach that point, and I hope there will be something more automatic that will allow that. But today it's done on the single origins product. Again, it's everything is a test, but thanks to the mobile app, thanks to Track Good, that of course. Created a very easygoing system. I can just upload the product and add the documentation and give the link, the access admin to all these people in the blockchain that they can upload automatically. It's quite easy. There is a very nice backend that allows that, so it's not that difficult. Everybody can do independently. Again, it's more about involving these people, let them understand, let's say, the idea and the vision of the brand and of the journey. Something that though has been very interesting to see is, of course, the response of the customer. So this actually, first there was only one product. Today there are 4 products, and actually they're really moving well. And some of our distributors' clients are actually buying this product because they are telling as well the history that this is a blockchain track product. And we can also see the scan. We see that there are around 2,000 scans per month. Per product. So it's very interesting. It's also has been a vehicle for marketing as well. So I see a big future for this.
And that's a really good point. That's what I wanted to talk about, the sort of the customer, the business side of it, because obviously we're not doing this just for fun. This is about a business and a real company trying to grow and adopt blockchain technology to do better for the world, and also for your shareholders in the future. So it's good to hear that the customers, and is that the end customers that are actually buying the packets, or the distributors that are
Yeah, great question. So the distributor, some of them, especially the North European, US customers, they really like the idea, so they married the idea. Even some of them, they included in their e-commerce, in the website, in the description of our company. So it was, for them, was a key message to give for people, for their customer buying our product. But definitely for the end consumer, has been very interesting. I mean, we do over 15 exhibitions per year. We have a section written blockchain tracking. So it also became part of our, one of our selling techniques, to be honest, because we are one of the few companies now. I see more and more coming, but we're still, let's say, we were 2-3 years ago really early in the stage. But something else very interesting, Anthony, also has been the selection of our suppliers. This is a point that I actually forgot, because through this system and this process we had to put in place, we actually discovered, for one of the 4 blends that was already part of our system, we actually discovered things that we didn't like. So that we were saying that they were organic, but maybe the organic certificate was 3 years old. So it was also a way to validate our supply chain, because brings our supply, our farmers, to be top notch and to be really updated with documentation, with practices, and so on.
That's actually really interesting, because the sort of auditing of the supply chain and the suppliers is a massive expense for retailers and suppliers like yourselves. And my background's retail, so I spent years in Marks and Spencer, Dixon's Group, and things like that. And I remember looking through, and I did an audit on a fabric manufacturer back in, this is years ago, it's probably well before anybody else's time. But I remember you're going into a factory and you'll physically have to go there and then go through paperwork and things. And it's really interesting. What you're talking about is actually solving some of that, whereby they have to renew the certificate, for example, every year, every 6 months, every order. But it's easy because they scan it and then you verify it, and then it's there. So it's actually, for retailers and suppliers cost base, it actually means, one, there's a selling point because your customers like it, but 2, you're cutting down your cost of audit and validation. And obviously, the third one is then choosing your suppliers. So I think that's really interesting benefits. I hadn't thought of it that way. So that's really interesting.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So the next question, really, so the one holy grail discussion really for tracking physical products is, how do I know that the physical product that I have is the one that you sent and it's the same coffee bean inside? How do you look at that problem? Because that's really the biggest challenge for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the documentation uploaded. So
Yeah.
generally, the documentation we upload, we even upload the invoices with the farmer. We
Oh, wow.
upload, the certificate of origin. It's a specific document. It is given by the custom of the region when the green
Okay.
coffee leaves. The logistics certificate is the batch number of the ships of the container with the green coffee inside. So we upload this information for every batch. These are official information. We should fake. I mean, we let's say to basically to avoid that someone should fake it, but it's very rare because the official documents.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
this one generally gives you the
Excellent.
let's say the security that this is let's say real and concrete. But of course, they're still governmental agencies. So I think the only way will be, I think still needs to be solved something like this. But like this, we found out that by uploading documentations, decentralizing it, everybody uploads their own information and documentation. Generally, you should at least guarantee to your customer where the product is coming from.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so the other side of that, interesting, I hear in the supply chain and I hear as a negative blockchain is transparency, which I find fascinating because the point of blockchain is transparency to make things open. So what you're suggesting there, what your solution does is puts things like invoices information and
Right.
customs documentation onto the blockchain, which is an immutable record and it's public blockchain. How do your suppliers and partners think about that? Have there been privacy concerns or trust, or how does any of that side of it
It's
sort of?
a great question. It's a great question. It was, to be honest, one of the main challenge I had inside my organization. Because basically we are giving all the information where we are buying from and so on. By the end of the day, it's part of the project. It's part of a project. And if you're very sure about your product, why not saying where you are actually buying it from? Anyway, there is the roasting part. That is something very specific, and it's like the cooking part, let's say, of the coffee.
Yeah,
But we have decided to marry this transparency journey, and it's something that let's say you need to convince the farmer from scratch. That's why I
yeah,
say that most of these products, 3 of the 4 blockchain track products we have today, they're new products because we had literally to go to the farmer and say, listen, we will do a collaboration with you, but we need your full cooperation on this project. And we told them, we convinced them, they're part of the strategy. Some of them, they're also very excited about this project.
yeah. No, it's really, really interesting. It's the point of blockchain. It's the funny thing, tracking is probably tracking of products is probably the most difficult blockchain solution at the moment still. But I think what you guys have done is amazing so far, and especially as you've done it so early, because the technology gets better each day, so and you're seeing that, you've talked about it's easier to do a few things now than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it's been really, really good to see that. I think in terms of what we do at CBRC, we've actually scored the project. And that's based on it's always the hardest word to say, which is blockchain applicability. So is the project for blockchain and how's it working, etc. And out of 100, you've scored 80 out of 100, which the project is very highly scored because it's critically important to sort of get this information onto blockchain and use it. And I think the nearer to 100 for the score is the bits you've really talked about. Is still getting more suppliers on board, certifying things a bit more, making things a bit more authentic, approved and verified, etc. So I think that the project gets an 80 score, which is a very, very good score. And I can't wait to see what you guys are doing next. And that's my next question. So my next question is, what is your plan for the blockchain usage in sort of Cafe Barbera over the next, say, couple of years?
Yeah. So thank you first of all for the score.
Yeah.
So the vision and the mission is to get as much as product as possible into, let's say, the rail of blockchain. So we want to be transparent with all our products. We have over 90 SKUs. Right now, we have only 4 that are with blockchain tracking solutions. So our plan is to, let's say, bring, of course, more suppliers, as you said perfectly, and decentralizing as much as possible. I think will be the key of the success of this project, to bring a decentralization really idea for the project. Otherwise, we will not really achieve what we wanted. And the other one that we are working on is actually, and it's very interesting, you can see in some of our stores already, one store in Dubai, so our physical store, because we have our own coffee shop chain. We are putting this product in the merchandising section, explaining the history with some very nice flyers, and even some in-store communication says blockchain tracking. So we're trying to even transmit this new technology we're adopting as part of the in-store communication of our physical store. And we have launched this so far in Cafe Barbera Athens, that has been opened 3 months ago, and Cafe Barbera Bay Square in Dubai. These are the first 2 locations that have actually communication as part of their communication of these stores. We're actually talking about blockchain tracking, have this product exposed. So we are trying now, the second step will be to actually bring these products in our own chain and let people know more about it. Because so far, we have it only in our e-com, of course, with QR code in our products, and our distributors, 10 of them so far, they have it also in their website. But we are trying now to push it. We're bringing it to exhibition. So we need to now to, let's say, push more this integration inside our company for the blockchain tracking. Then, of course, we are open for other solutions that could help our company to be more efficient, maybe some internal system of blockchain tracking inside for our documentation. That would be also interesting, because so far we're just looking at the regions, but maybe there is also a lot to do inside. Who knows? I mean, we're very much open. Always say, if you are in the Web3 space, let us know. If you have some cool idea, we're ready to implement.
Yeah, definitely. I think a couple of, next areas. One is you've talked about is payments and the, stable coin and digital currency payments, which, I think, coming into 2024 and then maybe into 2025 when regulations are a bit clearer, I think that will be massive. I think your other one maybe to look at is, loyalty. And offering loyalty programs and things around this based on blockchain and usage and sharing. I think there's some really interesting use cases around loyalty that's coming out. So yeah, brilliant, very exciting. So final question, where do you see all this blockchain world going in, say, 5 years time? So which is like for normal, that's like 1,000 years from now. But for blockchain world, what do you see in 5 years or so time?
So I think that let's divide the world the world of speculation from the world of real world use cases. So for the sides of let's say the financial side, if the Bitcoin ETF will play out, probably this will bring a lot of course, security and stability for the sector as a whole, and hopefully legislation, as you said perfectly, will bring clarity to stablecoin aspect, DeFi, NFT space, and whatever. So I think we are going to the direction, but let's see. In terms of real world use cases, I think that blockchain products already proven to be a very solid foundations for tracking, for decentralized storage, for so many things. I think the market will go to a direction where in 5 years people will use this technology, but probably will not even know that they are using it. Because what I'm realizing, even with our project, is that people are so excited by scanning and see the farmer pictures and see the documentation. They always say, wow, it's 100% organic, very cool. But they don't understand that actually there is a transaction hash they can click, they can see in Algo Explorer, for example, it Explorer to see when this was done by who and so on. So, and I don't think people will get it together for that, at least, right? So I think that company will start using it because they will see a proper let's say, benefit, especially in the origins and traceability, counterfeit products, and probably government documentation. I mean, there is so much about it, authenticity of documentation for smart contracts and so on. So people will use it, but I don't know they will really understand it, and that's fine. I mean, who knows how a car is working, right? But you're driving it every day. So it's this, I think, hopefully will be the way it will go.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think people will just use it without knowing is so important because, as you say, I don't know how TCP works. I just use the internet, and I don't know how my mobile phone works. I just turn it on. That's the way, blockchain needs to be. Blockchain technology is just something that happens, and how you use it, you scan the product, you can see where things are, you can access different things, is amazing. So brilliant. Okay, Elio, so if people want to get in contact with you and want to know more information, what's your website and details for the viewers if they want to
Sure. So
learn
they can
more?
check www.caffebarbera.com, double F. My email is elio@caffebarbera.com. If you
Brilliant.
want to drop me an email, or you can just add me on LinkedIn, Elio Barbera, and yeah, always happy to meet people from Web3 spaces.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thank you very much for that, Elio. It's been an absolute pleasure, amazing project, and best of luck with the future. Looking forward to seeing all your next solutions and what you do with blockchain and Cafe Barbera next. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Anthony, for having me here, and hope to see you very soon.